Hello to you. Yes, we've brought our cameras to the county ground, Swindon, for the local derby with Bristol City. Well, it's been a topsy-turvy season for both clubs so far. Just 7 weeks ago, Swindon were on top of Division 3 after that impressive win at Eastville over Bristol Rovers. But since then, they've not won a match. In fact, they've lost 4 of the last 6 games here at home. As a result, they've dropped down into the lower half of the table. Well, City, they've got their problems, both financial off the pitch and footballing problems on it, because they've not won in the league now. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 games. And they now have adopted that all too familiar position for them in the bottom 6 of the table. Well, coming up in the next hour, highlights from 2 other top games from today's programme. But first, let's get a real flavour of this West Country derby by bringing in 2 players who've had so much to do in recent times with these clubs. Don Rogers, whose goals brought the League Cup to Swindon in '69, and Paul Cheesley, whose goals put City into the First Division in 1976. But Don, let's come to you first. Now, in your day and since, Swindon are forced to be reckoned with here at the county ground, but it doesn't seem to be the case just lately.
I think nowadays you find teams definitely come to defend more than attack. And we've sort of fallen down against large numbers in defence, basically. And we've lacked a little bit of confidence in ourselves, I think, which we hope we're right today.
What about the youngsters? Do you think it might be a bit of inexperience in the side as well?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. No, I think the youngsters done very well for them.
Well, let's turn over to Paul now. Now, when you were leading the City attack, City, of course, having similar problems to Swindon. They played better away from home. Was that ever the case in your day?
No, not when I was playing with the City, but we seem to have a consistent run at that particular time. That's why we had promotion. But at the moment, as you said, they're having a bad home run. I don't really know what it is. I think Bob Houghton's trying to put his finger on it for us all.
What about those problems off the pitch? Do you think that's coming through to the players?
I think a little bit must rub off on the players' minds, because it's got to come straight away from board level managership right down into the players. It must affect them in some sort of way.
Right, well, there we are. As the players come out behind me, both Don and Paul are going up into our commentary box. We'll be hearing their opinions throughout the match with our commentator, Roger Malone.
Well, manager John Trollope makes 3 Swindon changes and has another forced on him at the last moment. He's dropped experienced players in David Peach, Kenny Stroud and Roy Greenwood, and gives a chance to younger men. That's Gary Williams at left-back, Mike Graham at centre-back, and 17-year-old Paul Rideout in attack. And that late blow for Swindon, Charlie Henry, their very strong right full-back, has gone down with flu. But that's a big chance for Kevin Badley, because he plays against his former Bristol City side. Well, Bristol City's manager Bob Houghton also looks for the spring and hope of youth to help City grow better. Out go to experienced men, Dave Rogers from defence and Chris Garland, who's sub from attack. And in come teenagers Alan Nichols and Rick Chandler. And today's referee for the West Country derby from Alton in Hampshire, Mr. John Martin. So it's Swindon playing left to right in the white shorts who get the West Country derby in motion. They've not won, as Graham was saying, in their last 7 league games. They go into a critical December. It'll be a month of destiny for Swindon. They've got 3 home games, and there's a City man on the deck already. Paul Stevens is OK now after that early knock. He is one of the youngsters in the back line. Only Terry Boyle with much experience in that City defence, but the manager goes for the future. He wants these youngsters to get experienced and take City forward. Well, we'll see how they go after they recover from that early blow. Swindon, according to manager John Trollope, have been playing very much like the curate's egg, good and bad in parts in every match. He's looking for a 90-minute performance from his side to start getting results Swindon's way. That's Gary Williams, the left full-back for Swindon. An oddity in this match, both the left full-backs are called Gary Williams. Emmanuel hitting that long one for Rowland to chase, but young Nichols is with him. Rowland has moved very nicely to gather that. Oh, nice one inside, but well cleared there by Aitken, the City skipper. That's Paul Rideout, the 17-year-old, trying to dummy Boyle, gets the cross in, but the City Gary Williams clears that away, and Trevor Tainton will tidy up. Williams for City, to Harford, back to Williams. Hooked forward there nicely by Devine, but an infringement. In fact, City fans might have liked to see the advantage played there. Paul, that's the thing which I think a lot of spectators do get uptight about when advantage isn't played.
Yeah, it's difficult for the referee just to determine whether it's going to be advantage or not, so I think on the spur of the moment they made the right decision there.
OK, Paul. Well, there's the Swindon wall. Now, Jimmy Mann, of course, is one of the dead ball experts of football, this man. 10 goals already for Bristol City this season, and several of them from this sort of situation. And the wall blocks it for Swindon. Oh, a dangerous ball back there by young Rideout. Goodness me, but Sandy Allen was equal to it. Nice nod on by Rowland, but well covered by Nichols. Hughes with the throw for Swindon. Oh, good effort there by Roy Carter, and here's a chance. Oh, my goodness me! What a super move, and a very close thing for City there. Howard Pritchard's header hitting the crossbar. To Devine, who's tangled up with the toilet paper. Aitken. This is Badley going at his old club. Nice turn. Good little cross. Plenty of bodies there, but good battling. And there's a chance here. And it's Pritchard who knocks it into the keeper's hands. There looked a little touch of offside about it for a moment. Devine. For Jimmy Mann to chase, but Graham's quickly on it. Out to Badley. Nichols. Tainton. Not a particularly good ball to Harford there, and City really not putting their raids together. Their defence are keeping them in the game, but they're not yet building stuff as well as they'd like. Boyle up strongly, but fouling in the process, according to Mr. Martin. So Swindon gained the corner there with good aerial work by the two big men, Rideout and Rowland. Again the short one. In goes Russell, far post, but Harford had covered well. But Hughes has it. And Boyle did extremely well to get up there. It looked like a corner from up here, some of the crowd thought so, but City survived once again. And Terry Boyle has obviously taken a bit of punishment, but from his point of view, if it's still no goals against, it's all worth it. Badly. That's for Pritchard to chase. Stevens has got it all under control. Good turn. Angry Swindon crowd reaction to the decision not going their way. In goes Boyle, but Carter got it away from him. Pritchard plays him in. A good tackle by Stevens. Good work there by the young right fullback. My goodness me, he's doing well for Bristol City, is Paul Stevens, Paul Cheesley.
Yes, I think he's a pick of the defence so far. He's having a great game so far.
But it's another corner for Swindon. Well, Mr. Martin has spoken to Kevin Morris, the Swindon physiotherapist there, obviously indicating some crowd trouble. The referee's now having a word with a police officer about it. No prizes for guessing that being the City goalmouth, that some supporters from other than Bristol City are hurling things into the goalmouth. Well, here we go, the action's on again. Up goes the keeper. He's not been put off by the aggro, and City survive. Tainton trying to sort something out, but Swindon closing down so nicely, making it difficult for Bristol to find avenues to thread their passes through. Harford. Chandler. But Manuel in there. Hughes with the throw. Rowland. Tainton. Williams. But again, Swindon's defence well in charge of this City attack at the moment. The service through to Harford and Chandler is not good enough, and Swindon's only mistake is that they've yet to put the ball in the net. They've been really on top in this match so far. Long ball in. Up goes Rowland. Nichols was with him well, and it's Tainton who completes the clearance. And Chandler's away and Devine's with him. And the left fullback's work there has resulted in a free kick situation right on the edge. But my goodness me, as City broke away there with the 9 Chandler and the 7 Devine, Paul, it suddenly looked as though this was their big moment.
Yeah, I thought Devine was going to take it over from Chandler there. Pretty unfortunate, really, but we got a free kick on the edge of the box now.
The left fullback did well for your side, Donald.
Tremendous. He was about the 3rd nearest man, and he ended up the nearest man in the end.
So there we go, another of these free kick situations in which Jimmy Mann of Bristol City, the number 8, often reaps a rich harvest. Let's see what's going to happen this time. Tainton with him, trying to get the wall organised, trying to get white shirts in there to create a gap when they move for the men to drill it through. I wonder if they'll try and fox Swindon by man running over it and Tainton hitting it, because he also packs a wallop. No, it goes sideways, the little chip in, but the wall still survives. This is Williams. And an ironic cheer from the home fans there as Gary Williams shows that although he's a promising young left fullback, his shooting ain't so good so far. Well, now, as we move into this last 2 minutes of the first half, let's hear from our former stars. First of all, from Paul Cheesley of Bristol City, who I imagine has had fingers crossed, toes crossed all through this half as his team managed just to hold out.
Yes, Rog, to start off with, Swindon put a lot of pressure on us and had some bad luck in the first 15 minutes. But as the game's gone on, both teams are becoming even now, and City are pushing forward now, basically from breakaways. I think we're looking forward to a good second half.
Don, from your point of view, how do you react to this performance by Swindon in this first half?
Well, it's probably the best that Swindon have played since the start of the season. There's a lot of life, everybody wants to win the ball. It's just a little unfortunate we didn't go in front at the start.
Thanks very much indeed, and indeed the chances did fall to Swindon. Another hold-up in this match. It's probably more crowd trouble. The police are here in numbers, but as long as supporters misbehave from the... there's not a lot can be done about it. There's objects being thrown onto the pitch on the far side. And Mr. Martin has got to, of course, be careful here that he doesn't put players at risk. And the game resumes as the unacceptable face of football shows itself. And that's a very acceptable piece of agility there by Mr. Muller. Terry Ball congratulates him, and once again City survive. Whether the match will survive depends on the current battle being waged off the pitch between several policemen, numerous Alsatian dogs, and some rather angry visiting supporters. Although what they can be angry about defeats me, because for their side to be level at half-time represents a very good performance by City's defence, and a shade of ill luck having gone against Swindon, who really have run this first half. Well,
so unprecedented scenes here at the County Ground this afternoon. Because of those ugly scenes from the so-called City fans in the visitors' enclosure, the referees decided to take a half-time break early. But we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes for what's now become the end of the first half and all the action from the second half too. We'll be right back.
well, quite clearly referee Martin took those players off without the first half being completed, and he took them off a couple of minutes before the end of it because he feared for the safety of the players, because the game's resumed playing the same way with a bounce-up. Well, that's a quite astonishing development, which very, very seldom happens, if ever. And it's still Bristol City now with the ball. Chandler turning. Good shot. Oh, good effort there by Ricky Chandler. Certainly City's best effort of this first half, which had, in fact, a 18-minute, roughly an 18-minute hold-up in the middle of the first half. Well, now, that is an extraordinary situation. The first half is now over. The teams will not go off. They will turn straight round, and this is quite an extraordinary carry-on here at the County Ground this afternoon. The referee wanted those players off whilst the police gained control of that visiting enclosure. There are police now all around it, up on the terraces, and there are reports of visiting supporters having ripped up the concrete terraces and using parts of it as missiles. No wonder Mr. Martin there took those players off. So, 45 minutes from now, the game will end, and it's City now playing left to right in the second half of this quite extraordinary match here. Well, Don, a comment from the Swindon point of view on what we've been, the unsavoury events we've had so far in this match.
Well, I don't really know what to say. It's ridiculous. And it's just a section of the crowd that has ruined it for everybody.
Paul, these people really are making a nonsense of football, aren't they, when they can have the game held up for 15 minutes, 18 minutes in the middle of the first half. Mann knocking it in. Again, Graham covering well. Gary Williams, the long one. Nichols. But he's rather given it away. This is Pritchard. He's got right out inside him. He lets one go. Well, he moved well and hit that meaningfully, but although he kept it down, Howard Pritchard knocked it wide of that far post. Devine flicking it on. Chandler there, but Badley was too strong for him. And the offside again played by Bristol City quite successfully. Well, it's a nice ball to Jimmy Mann from Gary Williams. This is Harford. Given that away. Right out. Stevens. Well, now, gentlemen, as we move into the middle of the second half of this local derby, Paul and Donald, what were your feelings in local derbies? Were they special? Did the blood tingle that bit more, Paul?
Well, it does always in a local derby. There's something, there's some little bit of prestige about it, I think, Rog, that makes you a little bit more aggressive in your tackles, etc., and do a little bit more running.
Was that your feeling, Don, that the tackles used to rip into the back of your ankles that bit sharper in derbies?
Well, I think everything seemed that much quicker and sharper because there was more people here to shout.
And what about the way this derby's going, Donald, from Swindon's point of view, as the game develops now?
Well, I think we'll be very unfortunate if we lose it, but the longer it goes without us scoring, the more it, you know... Oh.
Well, now here's a chance for young Gary Williams. Oh! Well, he did everything right. Super ball from Pritchard sent Williams in. The cross was good, but the shot was finally blocked, hit a City body, and once again City survived. But the left full-back there did well to set that ball up. Harford, Aitken, Chandler. Chandler did well to free Jimmy Mann there, and Devine wants it, gets it. Oh, good tackle by Williams, but was it a bit sharp? I'm afraid that's a booking. Full-back feeling hard done by, and I would have a certain amount of sympathy with him. He went in sharp, connected with the ball, also connected with the opponent, but Mr. Martin wants none of that, so it's a booking. So Stevens with a free kick. That should be the keepers. I know that Bristol City, Paul, wanted the fullbacks, Stevens and Gary Williams, to join in more in attack in this match, but of course they've been pretty busy in defence, haven't they?
Yes, I don't think they've had the opportunity to get forward on the overlaps because Swindon have been closing down through the midfield ranks.
Boyle with a free kick for City. Bouncing kindly for the Swindon defence in the end. Nicely played out by the left fullback. Pritchard well fed by Rowland. Aitken going across to help Stevens, but Pritchard coming inside them. The extra man's there, but they can't quite get it right. They make the gap, Swindon, but at the end the ball just not bouncing nicely for them. Emmanuel with the throw. The wide-out's turning nicely there, finding himself a bit of space. That's the one across there again for Carter, far post. Turn here for Rowland. Can't turn. Can't find Hughes. And again, City survive. Chandler turning. Again, that Gary Williams, the number 3, had read that nicely for Swindon. And that's Russell Lewis. No problem at all. Alan Nichols has moved up from City defence to lend his height in attack. Oh, that's a powerful header. Oh, a magnificent save there by Jimmy Allen from Harford. A super corner kick placed for Big Harford. He beat Swindon in the air there, and what a marvellous diving save there by Jimmy Allen. Carter, nice one out to Hughes. Up goes Carter, but the keeper comes well. And Williams knocks that away swiftly. Well, as this corner comes over, Roy Carter, the Swindon skipper there, will be wanting that extra 2 points, the one he's got. They both got the 1 point, but with 3 points for wins these days, there's not a lot of use in drawing your home matches, and Swindon know they really should have sewn up the extra 2 points in this one. And here's a chance for Hughes. Oh, and was he offside? Well, a definite chance there for Hughes. Don Rogers pointing out to me there, that ball cut back so Hughes couldn't have been offside. So that really was a gift, wasn't it, Don? Should have tucked that one in.
Oh, he'd be very disappointed about that one. So am I.
Well, Donald, as we move into the last 2 or 3 minutes of the match, what are your general reflections on it?
Well, I think the only thing to say is that Swindon have had most of the pressure, and they'll be very upset after the game and not winning, unless they can pinch a goal in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's the worry, isn't it, from your point of view, that City could pinch one.
That's right, they could do easily.
OK, Paul, well, you've sat watching the team that you used to play for so effectively. What do you think of them, and what do you think of their performance this afternoon?
Their performance has been quite good defending and put a bit of pressure on from time to time, but I think Swindon have had the edge on overall play, but nothing materialised.
Nichols. Pritchard. Offside. Donald, we've seen a lot of offsides in this match. There are those who would like an extension of the 18-yard line drawn across the pitch, and offside could only happen in that part of the pitch. What would you like to see? Leave the rules as they are, or change them to stop all these offside decisions?
I would just leave them as they are. I think a lot of offsides from Swindon's point of view is all of them trying to get forward.
Harford's knocked that in. Gary Williams has cleared it. It was a match that neither side dared lose, and it looks as though neither side is going to lose, unless this is the one for Bristol City, as Harford comes away, turns, Jimmy Mann's going to hit it. Oh, my goodness me, what a cracker. Well, as you saw that ball break for Jimmy Mann, he was able to hit that from the left side of the box, just over the woodline. He's the hot shot who nearly won the game for City. Up goes Boyle, who's had an excellent match at the heart of City's defence. Mr. John Martin from Alton, Hampshire ends the match. I imagine he's rather pleased to get the match ended without the trouble which was threatening in the first half. So there it is, honours even as regards the scoreline. I think the result will please Bristol City much more than it will please Swindon. A match which Swindon had the better chances, but were unable to put them away. And finally, it needed a brilliant save by the home goalkeeper to prevent Mick Harford snatching it for Bristol City.
No goals on the field of play, but plenty of talking points nonetheless. So time now to have a chat with both of the managers. First of all, John Trollope of Swindon, and he's talking with Roger.
Well, first, the home manager, John Trollope. I would imagine several pluses in your team's performance, but once again, the reward eluded you.
Yes, well, obviously disappointed we lost 2 home points, but on the recent run we've been having in the league, obviously I'm pleased to get a result, and hopefully it's a platform for future better displays.
You made changes, you brought in youngsters, you said you wanted more life and endeavour. Did you feel you got it?
If you've watched this recently, you would definitely say yes. Obviously I had the bit more urgency and, as you say, endeavour, and I think it paid off. Obviously I'm disappointed we didn't maybe get the goals. It could have gone either way. You know, a nice home win would have given the youngsters confidence. I dropped 3 senior players, and I think to an extent it paid off, but obviously you've got to get goals, and when you're home, obviously even more so.
Well, from the Bristol City point of view, manager Bob Houghton, of course. Bob, for you, a point and a battle.
Yeah, satisfactory result and a good performance. The youngsters did very well, especially in the back four. We had 2 18-year-olds in the back four. I thought they were outstanding, really, when you consider that they haven't played that many games between them. And they've got some good front players, Swindon. I was impressed with their front players today. Howard Pritchard, who came from us, and right out in Rowlands, they were always dangerous and threatening to get behind. And it wasn't really a 0-0 game, though there was plenty of opportunities around both penalty areas, and I thought our back foot did very well. Yes, I'm very pleased with it.
I know you were looking to get a better service to the front men from the back and from midfield. That would seem to be still a problem on today's showing.
I don't know that the service from the midfield was a problem today. We didn't play as well at the front today as we have done. that's Mickey Harford's first performance of the season, really, which is unfortunate because he's been doing very well, and when he's playing well, we can build up from him and get a lot from him. We didn't really look dangerous in the final third of the field, I thought. But I was pleased with the midfield players. I thought Trevor Tainton did exceptionally well. Emmanuel did a good job stopping Jimmy Mann from playing, and they kind of cancelled each other out. No, I didn't think we let ourselves down in the middle of the park. Just up around the box, didn't think we really threatened like we have been doing away from home recently.
Young Paul Stevens, outstanding at right fullback, I thought.
Yeah, I thought both the fullbacks were probably our best players today. You know, Paul's been playing well all season. In fact, he plays better away from home, really, I think, than at home. In fact, both the fullbacks are prepared to take more responsibility, get more of the ball, relax a little bit more on the ball. You know, as John says, the pressure to get 3 points at home is enormous. Now, he's very disappointed today because they've only got 1 point. And we've come away and got a 0-0 draw away from home, which normally we would be satisfied with, and yet we've only got 1 point out of it. I think that discrepancy is too great. I mean, neither side tried to play for a draw. We both tried to win today. We've both given everything, and yet we've both really got nothing out of it at the end because a point doesn't move us up the league. It knocks us down, really.
John, it would be impossible to avoid the crowd scenes we saw here today. In fact, the referee, we now learn, took the players off whilst the first half should have still been in progress. What did he have to say to you two managers after he'd taken the players off for their own safety?
Well, as you say, it was for their own safety, and he said that obviously the game couldn't continue while that was going on, and he said be patient, keep your players in the dressing room, we'll go out when it settles down and when the police have either stopped it or even cleared the area, which he kept his head very well, and I would praise him highly for his actions.
Those supporters were ripping the terraces up and heaving lumps of rock at the players. John, what can a football club, what can you as a manager or players do to try and persuade young supporters that they're not really supporting with this sort of behaviour?
It's very difficult, you know. You'd have to stop nearly every youngster coming in the ground if you wanted to stop it completely. What the answer is, I don't know. I think a lot of clubs are having this problem, and not only in Swindon or Bristol or all over the country. And I think to be able to do anything, I think you'd have to stop every youngster coming in, which would be obviously taking the future supporters away from football.
And a comment from you, Bob. You've been in football in Sweden, in South Africa and Greece. Do they have those problems out there?
No. I saw no violence when I was in Sweden. It's not a football problem, it's a social problem. You know what happened in Toxteth and Brixton in the summer? I'm sure if there'd have been football in the summer, it wouldn't have happened on the street, it would have happened on football terraces. It's not a football problem, I mean, it's a social problem. And therefore it's everyone's problem, but I mean, I don't think you should level it at football. If they weren't doing it here, they'd be doing it in the high street.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. That's the score. No goals on the field, and happily no broken bones from the savage scenes that we saw here at the county ground. Well, that's not the end of your football entertainment for this afternoon.
Bristol City. There's been a threat from the Bristol City board today that any of their supporters found to be involved will be banned from Ashton Gate. Well, the game was stopped for 18 minutes after missiles were thrown onto the pitch and at policemen. And Mr. Ted Kingston, the Bristol City vice-chairman, said today that the trouble was absolutely deplorable. He said that he thought the trouble had come from people who joined the City crowd and who weren't genuine supporters. But the Swindon club today accused the City players of condoning the violence by going up to the crowd and clapping them at the end of the game.
There'd been trouble in the visitors' enclosure at the county ground even before the kick-off, and police dogs went in amongst the City cheering fans to try to control the situation. The first incident during the game came when Jon Moller, the City goalkeeper, complained that he'd been hit on the head by a stone from the Swindon fans behind his goal. The referee, Mr. John Martin, asked a police officer to put some men on patrol behind the City goalkeeper to protect him. 10 minutes later, a linesman flagged on the far side of the ground to alert the referee to continuing trouble in the visitors' enclosure. A small section of troublemakers had been hurling stones and other missiles at police stationed just outside the City enclosure. It had been almost non-stop since before the kick-off. Mr. Martin holds up play to warn the Swindon officials, first of all physiotherapist Kevin Morris, that firm action is needed. The referee said he was concerned about the safety of the players, the match officials and the police themselves. He restarted play, but inside a minute, with a half circle of policemen on the field of play itself, Mr. Martin took the teams off to the safety of the dressing rooms. At first, he threatened to clear the whole ground and finish the match behind closed doors. Later, he warned the crowd he'd clear the visitors' enclosure if there was any further trouble. But he keeps the players off the field for 18 minutes before finishing the last 2 minutes of the first half. But there's no further trouble from the fans during the second half. After the final whistle, though, Swindon fans and officials were angry when they saw some City players clapping their supporters in the visitors' enclosure. Well, that action by the City players upset many people at the ground. The official Swindon Supporters Club say they're worried it will only encourage the Rovers fans to do the same when their side play at the county ground. The City manager, Bob Houghton, said he thinks his players were applauding the supporters who'd backed them and not those who'd embarrassed them. Well, today was the first chance the Swindon officials had at seeing the extent of the damage caused to the visitors' enclosure. Much of the tarmac at the back of the stand has been ripped up, and it was this that was hurled at the police in huge chunks. Well, today there was still anger at that gesture by the City players. At the end of the game, Swindon Secretary Bob Jeffries called it deplorable.
It may well have been that they were clapping the good side of their support, but I think that they were very ill-judged in making that acknowledgement.
What more can the football club do to try and prevent that?
I don't think we can do anything more than we've already done. We have our ground completely penned, and thank goodness that we did, because if those pens hadn't been in existence, then the game would have been off after about 10 minutes. We sell no alcohol on the ground whatsoever, never have done, never sought a license. We're adequately policed, and we have terrific relationships with the Chief of Police. Really, I don't know what more we can do.
Mr. Jeffries also blamed the media. He felt the hooligans were getting the publicity they were seeking. Well, the Football Association are expected to hold an investigation into the affair, but the president of the Football League, MP Jack Dunnett, who was in Bristol today, says he doesn't expect any sanctions.
Everything that could be done is being done. I'm not pretending that we're blind to it, but the fact remains that the ultimate solution would be to ban away supporters. But how do you do that? How do you identify them? How do you find out if someone comes from Club A visiting Club B and he says, I'm a Club B supporter? How do you do it? How do you get people into the ground if you have to carry identity cards? You can't do it. We have examined dozens of solutions, and the best solution we've come up to falls into two parts. One is to segregate as far as we can the visiting supporters from the home supporters, and secondly to have a degree of police attendance that will deter the potential hooligan.
Well, whatever the official repercussions, Bristol City said tonight that they'll be investigating the incident fully, and Vice Chairman Ted Kingston pledged that if anyone involved